Welcome back everyone to the ultimate guide to Blender 3D rigging and animation, and this is where we left it off. Now the first thing that I want to do is I want to bring in a texture and coordinates. So if I come over to my actual Veroni texture and I press Ctrl T, you will see then we get texture coordinates and mapping, exactly what I want. And basically this allows you to change where this texture is in space and time. If I move this, as you can see now, we can actually move the actual texture along and things like this. And this is a very powerful way actually then of actually changing our texture a little bit like we did with the pumpkin, but this is taking it one step further. You can also see that we can base it on the normal, so the way that the the mesh is facing, or we can base it on the UV. We can even base it on the camera, and that's taking it to that, kind of next level. All right, so the other thing I want to do is I want to change the scale of the Veroni. I'm going to put this on something like 8, like so, and there we go. That's looking much more like fire. And now what we're going to do is, if we actually zoom out, what I want to do is I want to create a frame around these actual three here. So I'm just going to pull my texture coordinates a little bit away. I'm going to actually unplug this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all three of these like so. I'm going to press the N button then, and you'll see that within the node wrangler, if I click on this, we can actually frame the selected. So I can add in an actual frame. And I can also change the name of it. So if I come up now to the actual node, you can see that the label and the frame have an actual name. So if I put in something like main flames or large flames, let's see, like so, you can see now we've got a name called actual large frame. So this is really good because then it means I can actually make another 3 of these. Yeah, 2 more of these. So if I grab this, press Shift D, I can bring it up. And then Shift D again, bring it up like so. And then I can come into this one, grab it and change the large flames to small flames like so. And then what I can do is I can grab each 3 of these. I can press Shift D, drag them and drop them in there. And actually, I need to bring this down because I didn't think it would actually do it like that. So I'm going to grab all 3 of these now. And I'm going to try. Yeah, not actually bring them into there. So I need to take this frame off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and remove that frame by grabbing it and just pressing delete. And then what I'll do is I'll make another couple of frames. So you can see here I've got main large flames. So what I'll do is I'll bring this down. Oops, I'll bring this one. Let me grab it. Now I should be able to move it like so. And then what I'll do is now I should be able to grab these 3 and drop those into there, and you can see that move then. All right, so now we've got it. Now we should be able to move this along like so. All right, so a little bit fiddly. I made that a little bit too hard for myself, but anyway, we got there in the end. I'm also going to grab this one as well and move these up so they're just underneath, so they're nice and neat. All right, so at the moment you can see that we can see through this, and the reason is because we need to reconnect our actual texture coordinates up. So I'm going to bring this into the vector of the large flames. I'm also then going to bring it into the vector of the small flames, and basically what it means is that these will be in the same space and time as each other. I'm also then going to grab all these and just move them over very slightly, and I think as well what we should do is just unplug this. So I'm going to unplug this one as well because we need to mix these together in some way. So what I'm going to bring in is I'm going to bring in a mix shader. So mix. Actually, will it be a mix shader or a mix RGB? Yeah, we'll bring in a mix RGB instead. So we've got a mix RGB there. And then what I'm going to do is you can see the small flames here. Very important that you do this. The small flames should be underneath. So they should come down to this one here. And then the actual large flames should come to the top of this one here like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually plug this, so this mix shader, into my actual fact now. And finally, now what I want to do is I just want to duplicate this this one here, so this small flame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it going all the way around like so, and then I'm just going to press Shift D, and that then means that the actual the frame will come with it as well, which is exactly what we want. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this to mid flame. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to call it mid. So mid flames like so. Okay, and before actually doing that, what I want to do is I want to come back down to my large flames, and I'm going to actually set this I'm going to leave this actually on height. And what I want to do is I want to set the small flames to 16. So I'm going to change the scale up to 16. And then I've got my mid flames, which I'm going to change this to something like 4. Yeah, let's change it to 4, something like that. Now let's bring in another mix RGB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift D. And I'm going to bring this over to here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this into the bottom of here. And then put this into the top of here. And then finally grab this mix RGB. And then drop that into the bottom of there. So you can see now we've got 3. We've got main flames, small flames, and large flames. And we've got the 2 bottom ones mixed into the mixed RGB. And then this mixed RGB is mixed in with the mid flame. So basically we've combined all 3 of these actual flames, which gives us a ton of control over how this fire actually is going to look, what color it's going to be, for instance. Because the reason we've done that is because if you look at any fire, you've got kind of the red, which is the the very coldish part of the fire. You've got then the yellow, which is a bit warmer, and finally you've got the white, which is the red hot part of it. So that's why we've actually done it in this way. And before we go on, this doesn't actually look right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap these around. So I need to grab this one and put that into the top. And then that one will go into the bottom. Okay, that's looking much better. Now let's come in and change the mix to soft light. So we're going to go up soft light. Here it is. I'm going to do the same one on this one. So soft light. And then I'm going to put the FAC up to 1. And I'm going to do the same on this one as well. And now let's just make sure that everything's connected. So we can see that we've got our texture coordinates needs connecting up to our vector on this one as well. And there we go. And now what we really need to do is have a look at the thickness of each of these parts. So we've got mid flames, and you can see as I bring this down or up, we can actually control that. We've got the small flames then. If I bring this down again, you can see we control that. But the problem is if I do this now, I'm not really going to see what I'm actually doing. But it's good that you actually understand how we actually control these before actually going ahead. So the first thing we want to do is actually get these things moving, and then finally we can actually bring in some colors, and you'll understand, okay, I want my small flames to be this big, and you actually understand how this whole of this setup actually works. So let's first of all bring in a gradient texture. So Shift A, let's look for a gradient. Like so. So gradient texture, let's drop that in there. Let's also then bring in a mix RGB, sorry. So mix RGB, let's drop that in there. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to plug in the color from the gradient into the top of our mixed RGB, and then take the large flame, so where the color is. So we're going to pull the color and drop that into our mix RGB like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the color from which was originally in this one and just swap it with this one here, like so. All right. Now we should have an actual gradient that goes up, and basically it should get lighter or darker as it actually tapers off. All right, so what do I mean by that? Well, if I come into my gradient, I'm just going to pull this down here along with this. I'm going to grab my texture gradient. I'm going to press Ctrl T. And basically I want to bring in a mapping and texture coordinates. Now if I come in and I change the Y, I think it'll be, let's have a look, change the Y. And then if I bring the X up, let's have a look, or bring it down, we can see now that we should end up with some control over how this actually is. Now the problem here is that you can see that this should be on -90. So -90, turn it round. And then let's try bringing this up now. And there we go. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So you can see what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it thicker at the bottom. And as it goes up to the top, it actually starts to disappear like actual flames do. So flames are really thick down the bottom, but as they go up to the top, they're really thin, spindly, and then they eventually disappear. And that's the kind of result that we're trying to actually get. Now, let's actually get this moving. So how we're going to do that is we're going to come into, and we're going to add in a driver. So let's come to our large flames first. Now, the thing is, we're going to add them to the Z-axis, but you might actually need to rotate them round, where you would put frame, and then you would put -30 or -60 or whatever it is, if it's going the wrong way around. So let's do the first one first. So if I come into the Z, I'm going to press my hashtag. I'm going to press frame for the driver. And then I'm going to press / and then let's try, first of all, 30, something like that. Now, if I press spacebar now, you can see that it looks as though my flame's actually going the wrong way, which is what I said. But now if I press minus 30, like so, now you can see my flame's going the right way. So you're looking basically for the flame going up, and you know now that each time we do this, it's basically going to be minus, not just 30. So just take that into account. And yours might be the other way around, so just keep it on 30. All right, everyone, so you can see now how we've got the large flames moving. So what we need to do now on the next lesson is we need to get the other actual small flames and the mid flames actually moving as well. And then we can actually bring in some color. All right, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.